Let's start. Good morning. Hi. So glad that you could come this morning. The reason why we are here today is to talk about Sabrina and the testing that we did and her results for that testing. We also will be looking at things that we can do during the school year, different curriculum or something to help her achieve the goals that she needs to achieve so that she can graduate this year. Let's go ahead and go with what we did first, which we did an informal reading assessment, and her scores on that. Let me go ahead and get into that. Here we go. So we did an informal reading inventory, and she was able to do the understanding of the words from grades 5 and 6. And so we went ahead and decided to go ahead and grade her on that. So this is what we did. We went through passages 5th grade. We started at 5th grade, and that was on the 15th of June that we did this. So she scored a 16. Number of words errors was 16, but there were 184 words that she read orally, and so she did an understanding or a comprehension quiz. She got a 6 out of, I believe it was 10 points. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, actually 10 points, which is over half. That's not bad. So she was able to get at that on this particular one, it was 11 out of 18 words for recognition errors. She is placed at the instructional reading level, at least for this particular passage. We went on to a silent fiction passage, and what she scored was an 11, which that's between 7 and 10 points is what it was, and it is at the independent. So she can read independently, silently, and able to comprehend those words and phrases. She is able to do that quite well. We went on to an oral nonfiction, and she received a 10. And so she is actually at the independent level. So out of the 185 words, that's really good. So her comprehension, though, she received a 7 out of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About, well, actually 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 10. 7 out of 10. So that I mean, it's a 70%. That's pretty good. But she's on like what the word moisture means in this reading passage. She couldn't get the word wetness or wet. She said everything but wetness or wet. Air was the main word used to describe it, at least how she described it. So that's she tries to sound out the words, which is great. I'm glad that she's doing that. she's adding the T to helped. So that's good. And then let me see, what was she saying? So for clouds, or what was it? Crystals. For crystals, after the drops or icicles form, or crystals, she was saying icicles instead of ice crystals. So, but that's okay, you know. But like I said, she is doing well, or did well with that particular passage. This next one that she did was a silent nonfiction, and it was describing the deserts. Didn't know what the word description was, so I had to spell it out and went over it and what it was, what it meant. So we did that. So she wasn't able to get a good grade on that. It was kind of between C and a D. Actually, to tell you the truth, she got 5 out of 10 on that one, I believe. Let me double check. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Yeah. So she lowered her grade on that for comprehension. She could tell me about the lack of rain, but used everything but this phrase. On, to be a desert, what must a territory have? She couldn't tell me about like the Sahara, where it was located. Well, she did tell me where it was located. She said it was in Africa, so I gave her a point there. But even though we went over what resemble meant, she really couldn't remember. So that was difficult. And like how much of the entire area of the Sahara is covered with sand, she really couldn't tell me, even though it was within the passage. Then we went, we didn't go through 6th grade. Actually, I said that we went through the vocabulary of 6th grade, but we really didn't. We just did 5th grade. We kind of stopped there. Maybe we could have gone on, but we just chose not to because I think because of time restraint. But we went ahead and decided to do a math quiz, a math screener, and she received a 46.7% on the first one. The second one, she didn't do so hot with that because it was dealing with fractions and it was really difficult for her. And she wasn't able to do very much division or multiplication. Lattice she uses so that she can multiply. It's something that Mrs. Fox uses for her basic math students, and so that seems to help them. She chose not to use that. This she can use as it's not giving, it isn't giving her answers. It is a visual tool to assist her with doing math. So I think this year she will definitely be using that, especially for multiplication and division, even in fractions, I believe. She's able to do that. So when she did the fractions, she only got 1 out of 15, which is only 7%. And then we went on to decimals, figured that might be a little bit easier. Unfortunately, it was not easier. She only received a 27%, which is 4 out of 15. Then we went on to place values. I was thinking that might be easier. Well, it wasn't easier. it was a little bit more difficult. So she only received a 2 out of 15, which is a 13% on that one. And then we try to do positive and negative integers. She wasn't able to do that because she had not been taught that. So we kind of stopped there. She wasn't able to do algebraic understanding, and so that is probably something that will be done this year in Mrs. Fox's class. So at least we know that information for her so that she'll be able to start off on the right foot with math, okay? We decided to go ahead and do the full KTEA, which is the Kaufman Test of Educational Achievement, and it's the 3rd edition. Simply because we felt it was probably a good idea to do that, simply because she's going to be graduating, and it would be good to know some of these things, or at least finding out if she's retained some of these things. Oh, by the way, if you would like a water, here's water for you. Okay, sorry about that. So I just wanted to make sure that you would like, something to drink, if you needed it. So okay, going on, the KTEA, we decided to do the Form B. So, and I also looked back at her scores from the last time she took the KTEA. She was able to do better at some things and average, or should I say the same as on others. In fact, let's go through the phonological processing. She did fairly well on that. Then into the math concepts and applications, which is in the KTA brief. Excuse me. The KTEA brief. Sorry, I have to catch my breath. So we went through that. She actually she got a 38 last time, 3 years ago, and now she is at a 49, which is better, much better than she did last time. She still has that complications with multiplication and division and fractions. So and then algebraic items that go along with what she's been learning and what she will be learning this next year. So all right, now we will go on to, let me see. Now we'll go on to letter and word recognition. Last time she got a 46. That was, I believe, in her freshman year. Now that she's going to be a senior this year, it's a 56. So she has done just a little bit better. I'm grateful that she's able to do much better in that. We'll continue with that comprehension and recognition, letter and word recognition for her on that. So the next one we went through math computation, and that was about the same, simply because she was able to do the addition and subtraction, things like that, but she wasn't able to do the algebra. She did well the first part of the 4th through 12th grade level on this, and so but like I said, she was able to be about the same on both. So then reading comprehension, let me get into that. We did some other testing because the original one is a little bit longer, like nonsense word coding. She's chunking it all, which is fine. Chunking is just one option of how she responds. So, okay. And then writing fluency, we did silent reading fluency, and then math fluency we also did for 1 minute. So she didn't do very well on that because that was it being timed kind of it throws her off, I think. So which I can understand, because I remember at that age I did the same thing. So but that's just one of the testing portions that they have in here. Okay, reading comprehension. Let's get into that. From the last one, her reading comprehension was about the same. They were both 23. But I tell you this, the set on that though, she did set C, which let me look at that. But I am thinking that C actually that was at the 2nd grade level. She graduated through set E, and that's for 4th to 5th grade. So her comprehension is the same, but it went from 2nd grade to 5th and 6th grade. So that's a huge comparison. So we did go through the rest of it, simply because I didn't know how much that she would be able to know or to retain from this last year when I had her in English. So, but we've got some things to work on, and we'll definitely dig into that. So now we'll get into written expression. Yes, written expression, we went and did the 3rd through 5th grade level, and she received a final score this time at a 53, and it was at a 40 the last time. And so she's better at writing than she was in her freshman year. So freshman into sophomore year. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that. Then we did, let me see, associational fluency. That was one of the testing that we did, and she did fairly well because it was a timed. It was like 1 minute per portion, naming animals, naming games, trying to name things and trying to do it in 1 minute. She did well on that. So now we're gonna get into spelling. Spelling, what she had done. She went and went through part of the 9th through 12th grade, but didn't go very far. So, but that's fine. Like I said, this year we will definitely work on, bring her comprehension up from, 5th and 6th grade through 9th, 10th, at least through 10th grade. If she can comprehend some of that, that would be great. And then that will definitely help her with whatever she's wanting to do after school. And she received a 32 on her spelling. Let me see. On her spelling 3 years ago, it was at a 33. So it was good in some areas, and and I'm looking at this, but she didn't go. She did okay through some of them, some of the spelling, but then she didn't do so well through a lot of the 9th through 10th grade. And it looks like roughly about the same score as what she had. So, but that, like I said, we'll continue to work on spelling. We'll continue to work on other other portions of English, because I know that's going to be a big thing for her whenever she gets into college. Spelling, grammar, things like that, that we'll be working on, and to help her get better at that, and so that she's able to comprehend a lot of that. So we did reading vocabulary. We did the 4th through 12th grade in this, and she was able to she got an 11 out of 58, which that isn't as good, but there were several words that were not, I mean, this is 4th through 12th grade, and most of this was, you know, into the 7th, 8th, and beyond, that she wasn't able to comprehend. So, like I said, we will work on that. And then we did letter naming. She did well with that. So I do have the results from the KTA. Here they are, right here. So I wanted to go through this, you know, to visually give you something to look at, and for me to look at, so that I could at least give you what they were actually working on, okay, through this form, okay. Are there any questions so far? No, okay, all right. So here are the results, and she, let me see here. She does well with listening comprehension, association, and fluency. Listening comprehension, she did about average, or a little bit below average. She's below average in letter naming, but that's okay. But she, I mean, it's on a something like a bell curve. She needs to work on her writing, which is fine. But she, you know, with spelling and things like that, we need to work on that, definitely. We need to work on reading comprehension, letter and word recognition, reading comprehension. She's low in those areas. And then Mrs. Fox will definitely be working on her math to get her to a reasonable percentage and of an understanding of some of the applications for math. Okay. Okay. So here are those scores for you. I have a copy here. So if there are no other questions, I do want to let you know she has been an amazing person to deal with, amazing student, especially through all of this. She was like, oh, what am I going to do? You know, am I going to be tested, and am I going to be doing lesson plans, things like that? And I said, no, we're just going to do testing. So and I let her know that, and she was okay with that. And I have been blessed to have her as a student, and also as almost a friend. So I really appreciate you all allowing her to do this testing with me. But these are the results, I did do a behavioral analysis on her, behavioral checklist, and She is a good source of information, and she's very, very honest, and I really appreciate her honesty with me. And I am extremely proud of how well she did this last year, especially with getting that award at the end of the year. That to me is um, just a blessing to see her blossom within the school, and to see her do well academically, and